If you guys want to come hang out with the JRB, check out the link.
Alright, so here on the DuoQueued Podcast, it's me, Dale, Double Downs, my co-host, Alex, Silent Prayer.
How's it going, guys?
Flash with Galactic Gaming.
Hello.
And JRB, Psychopathic with JRB.
What up, guys?
Now, on this episode, we're going to be talking in depth about gaming communities and, you know, everything that goes into them and what these guys are doing and all that kind of good stuff. So, we were talking a little bit before this about, you know, the positives and negatives of gaming communities, you know? Now, what are, like, the main... Let's just start off with the main negatives. Let's just go for it. What are the main negatives that you guys see within your gaming community or other gaming communities in general?
One of the big negatives I feel like a lot of TeamSpeak have is trying to find, like, staff that you can trust, people you can trust to work with, who are sort of, if you're going for a professional feel, who will be professional. And I guess if you're laid back, then look for people who are laid back. So it's sort of that, trying to find people, see if you can trust them, get a feel for them. That's always the hardest for any major team.
Yeah. For the JRB, one of the things we find the hardest is a lot of times in any other aspect of life, you get a lot of people together. Not everybody's going to get along all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A lot of arguing and, you know, fighting going around about, but I wanted to play with him and, like, all that kind of stuff. But
or someone missmited and the other team gets buried and you're just like, no.
Another thing is, as a community member and past owner of a game community, I had a lot of issues with people not really fitting in or being too shy to talk to the members who've been there for a while, because they feel like, you know, they already, it's like high school all over again. Like, they already have their in and their cliques, and they don't want to, you know, they're too shy to try to attempt to join them.
Yeah, so, like, joining a TeamSpeak for the first time is sort of like, you know, starting day one of high school. You're a freshman and you're just like, I don't know what's going on. But I've used chat software before, so a lot of the times people do come on to Galactic Gaming and they play in the tournaments and then they log off and we never see them again. So, you know, what we're trying to do in 2016 is sort of have events go on when tournaments are going on, A-run tournaments are going on our server, so hopefully people can sort of like stay on, meet new people, and play with us.
Alright.
Right. And Flash, you said earlier that you were working with your staff. Now, like, generally speaking, do you find it more of work, or is it just kind of like a whole hangout thing when you're in your community?
That's a good question.
As an owner, yeah.
There are days where I come on and there's certain things I need to do, certain issues that went on, and I do feel like it is work. Like right now, we've only been up for 9 months, so we're trying to build ourselves, find ourselves, what works, what doesn't. So with our TeamSpeak, it's always changing at the current moment, but at the moment when I do come on, it does feel like work sometimes, because there is still a lot to be done before we get to where we want to get to. But there are days where I come on and, you know, I just talk to people, ask them how their day was. So, I mean, it all depends on what happens.
Yeah, I know with you, Psycho, that you play a lot with the members of your gaming community, whether it's in-houses or just normals or ARAMs or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that, like, difficult to control or handle, or is it, like, pretty laid back?
It gets hectic because everybody wants to be in the same game at the same time, and custom in-house games max you can get in there is 10. And
Yeah.
some people get left out.
Now, that being said, there are a lot more positives, I'd say, of being in a gaming community than there are negatives. Like, the negatives are basically when you first start out, You have to get used to it, and then, you just have to go with the flow of things. Now, there's a lot of positive sides of being in a gaming community in general. What do you guys say your biggest positives are in your gaming community?
JR, do you want to go first?
All right. Well, yeah, ours is really really tight. Like we know each other on first name basis. We talk to each other about our problems and stuff in real life. We're there for each other, and it's really cool. Having people around for that. It's always, you never feel alone. You always jump on and say, "Hey, who's on? Who's gaming? What's good?"
Yeah.
Well, I guess for me, the question is, does it get hectic with members? Is that what you're?
It's like,
at?
what's the main positive aspect of your gaming community?
Oh, okay. The main positive thing, I guess it's sort of like meeting people. For the first time, you meet someone that is from a different world, or not a different world, from a different country, or a different location, or a different state. You get to talk to them, you get to learn about them, and it's fun because they have sort of the same, maybe they're into programming, that's why they came on. They're into gaming, that's why they came on. They found us through streaming because they like streaming. So you tend to find people easily because you can relate to them, you have things in common with them. So it's easier to sort of talk to what I mean.
Yeah.
So I guess that's really the whole great thing about having a TeamSpeak community, is that you sort of meet new people that you normally would not meet.
That's pretty cool. So you're both owners of your own gaming communities. So starting with Psycho, how many people do you have in your gaming community?
We have about 150 people that revolve around our TeamSpeak server. Peak hours of the night, we usually have about 30, 35 people on.
So what about, and when you have a tournament, how much is that
When we have tournaments, like we usually do like 1v1 tournaments, so we end up with about 40, 50 people on for our tournaments. We do like maybe once a month, twice a month.
Okay, and what about you, Flash?
For your question, just something. Are you talking about like how many people are registered for? I don't know, like
Well,
yeah. How many people do you constantly have in your TeamSpeak or whatever?
For registered players, I was just checking, and we're at like 2.9K, 2,900, which I'm looking at. I'm like, this is unbelievable, but
Yeah.
it's people who have registered. So I guess 9 months we got 2.9K people. But
Right.
on a general online basis, a lot of them are like first time visitors, or they come on once or twice a week for a tournament. But during the times where we don't have tournaments, it's usually around 20 to 35 people. And then when tournaments do happen, it's around 90 and 100. So,
wow.
yeah.
Okay. So out of Psycho is 150 and Flash is 90 to 100, how many of those people do you know on a more personal level?
With my server, I would say out of the 90 to 100 people, I would probably know like 40 of them, 40 to 45. The core reason is because I've worked tournaments for like 6 months. So when I spoke with them through registration, tournament registration, we chat a bit and I learn a lot about them. And then over time you start, saying, hey, how are you? How was your day? How was school today? How did you pass your test? How was Christmas? How's your mom doing? So like all those questions start popping up. So
Yeah. And what about you, Psycho?
Yeah, I'd say probably about 70, 75 of them know on first name basis, and know what they're doing in life, what they're going through, and stuff like that. Because I'm really right in the heart of all the community members.
And I know it's really hard to like get to know your community, like especially when it starts expanding, because for one, especially like when I was doing it, I didn't have admins. I couldn't really trust anybody to like take control of certain situations. So, you know, you have to be a bad guy and you have to do all that. And then at the same time, you're sitting there running, managing everything, trying to get everything around. You can't really have that time to know that many people. And I think that's great about what you guys are doing, because you guys have figured out a way how to get to know your community members a little bit more than what I was able to handle. So I think that's really what makes you guys a little bit more, a lot more successful than what I was at. Because when I had mine, I think I was like 15 to 20 members at a time, and that was hectic for me. Like I had so much trouble with it because they were all fighting, arguing, and all that kind of stuff. So what you guys are doing, I'm actually really impressed by, and I'm glad you guys are doing what you guys are doing. To add on to that, though, like, was it hard for you guys to getting your start, and why did you guys want to start the gaming community? Because I know it's different for everybody, you know what I mean? If one of you guys want. Okay.
I'll go ahead and take it first. Well, the JRB, it started off as just 3 of us guys. JRB is like a Juggalo clan. I don't know if you guys know anything about Juggalos or not, but 3 of us Juggalos got together. We met in game playing early season 1. They didn't have name changes back then, so we were like, hey, you know, let's just make new accounts and put JRB in our names, you know, whatever. And it kind of grew from there. We had more and more Juggalos online playing League, and we had more and more people coming in that weren't Juggalos, you know, that were really cool people that kept coming in consistently playing with us like all the time for months and months and months. And finally we're like, you know, we got to let these guys in too, you know? So it became open to everyone. And like, that's just kind of the small roots of that is what I think is the reason that it's so tight, that the reason we're all so tight is like we're all like a family.
Alright, what about you, Flash? Like, how did you guys get started? And was it a struggle for you guys?
What JR said though, like, I'm like jealous of them because they've been together since season 1. They've known each other for like what 5-6 years now. So
yeah.
That's really unique, I would say, with a TeamSpeak server like that. But for Galactic Gaming though, we started 9 months ago. So I guess compared to JR server, we're sort of like an infant. But we started 9 months ago. I was working at a different TeamSpeak server. I was sort of like an admin there, running the tournaments and everything, staff related to. So when I stepped down from there, someone else took charge, and I was just hanging out there. And so when I left, someone actually messaged me and said, "Hey, you should start a TeamSpeak server." So we did, and it started off as sort of just a few of us just hanging out, a group of friends hanging out, chatting. And then someone mentioned, why not grow it? So eventually we started doing that. We started advertising, we started getting tournaments, and it's been growing. And first it started off with 10, then 40, then 60, and now we're up to like 100, and we're just constantly growing. So that's always a fun part. We're always changing, growing, so you never know like what the next thing is.
Yeah. Well, the second part of the question for both of you, I don't know if you guys both covered it, but what was the hardest part about starting the community and like getting people involved and staying?
The struggle is that if we didn't have tournaments, a lot of people wouldn't be on because we were just a group of 10 friends. So having it so we have tournaments, they come on and they get interested in the server, they want to start investing their time into the server. That was really the hard part, trying to get people to stay on and, enjoy some kind of communication other than, there's a million softwares out there that you can use, Skype, for example, but having it so people can come on and feel it like it's a home, a community, that was a struggle, I would say, to create that kind of thing.
And what about you, Psycho?
Yeah, the problem we've encountered is like new people coming into the server. You know, like they said earlier, it's kind of like being in high school and the cliques are already there, and people come in and they're shy and they don't want to put themselves out there. When I try to tell everybody, we're just relaxed, gamers. We're not really competitive, like not all the time. Most of the time we're just hanging out and having fun together and stuff, and we have a lot of fun. And I try to, we try to get more people in to join in on all the fun. And they first come in, they're shy, they don't want to, speak up, and then they'll come in, they'll play like a couple games with us, and then they're off, and then it takes them a little while to get them, coax them back in again,
Yeah.
and then for some more games on the server and stuff. And it's like, hey, just come on in, hang out. You know what I mean? That's the way you get in with us.
Hmm.
So you guys have pretty big communities. There's a lot of people that just rent TeamSpeaks for their friends. Have 5 to 10 people. You guys have well over that, and it would be really hard for you guys to do this, to supervise all these people by yourselves. So you have to have staff, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So what's the process like for giving the staff position to someone? And, like,
The process, well, each TeamSpeak has their own kind of thing, but for Galactic Gaming, what they have to do is they have to fill out we're creating a new page actually on our website where they have to fill out an application, and then they have to go through 2 interviews, which sounds god awful. But they're not that hard though. It's just like getting to know you kind of bit, just to see how you answer questions.
Right.
And this is completely volunteer work, basically,
yeah,
right?
It's completely
Voluntary.
voluntary. There are TeamSpeaks that I think pay their staff, but it's below minimum wage from what I've heard. So you can't really make an earning off of this. It's sort of just, you wanting to be there like a hobby kind of thing. But you learn a lot through it. So back to the whole, becoming a staff or something. What we do is they go through an interview, and then the 2 interviewers talk to each other, see how each of them felt, and then we decide whether they should be hired or not.
Well, how do you determine how much power they get, like, for your server, for your team?
They start off with the, they can move people, they can join, just the basics of TeamSpeak, just to make sure that if, people come in with different knowledge of how TeamSpeak works. So what we have to do is we have to start off with the basics, even though if they know how to run tournaments,
Yeah.
Everyone starts off at base, and then their performance tells us whether they should be hired or not. I mean, promoted or not.
now what's your experience with staff members like Psycho?
Well, mainly most of our admins and stuff were some of the original JRBs, so there's a lot of trust already there with those guys. Really, it just comes down to, I've got one guy that takes care of the actual physical server. We host the server, the TeamSpeak server 1. I've got another guy that goes through and he handles all the permissions in TeamSpeak for me, all the server group assignments and stuff like that. And then I've got a few other guys that whenever I'm not on, they're on, watching, holding down the fort kind of thing.
Alright, now, I know, like, with any type of server, whether it's a game server, whether it's, like, a TeamSpeak server, or whatever type of server it is, there's always argument going on. Like, at some point. Not constantly. I'm not trying to say it's always, fighting or into it, but, do you guys have admin sits? Where you guys pull the people away and then discuss and then find out like a punishment or some other way to resolve your issues within the community?
On Galactic, we have moderators who do that. They're the ones that pull them aside and sort of talk to them, and then they're the ones that assign either that user gets a warning, a mute, or some kind of punishment. It's up to the moderators, and it's up to us. So we have a sort of like a guideline of what goes with what punishment. So I leave it up to the moderators who are, doing it.
Alright, what about you, Psycho?
When we have problems like that, we try to be real lenient, about certain things. If somebody's having a bad day, they have a couple bad games, and it starts affecting the community, negatively, and people start coming to me, telling me that so and so is causing certain problems. I give them a good warning, and give them the benefit of the doubt, But if things continue with it, I give them a couple days ban.
Yeah.
I really don't hand out too many permabans
That
generally.
That's
So
always a hard thing though, because usually, like your server per se, if a user who's been on there for a really long time, or they're going through a tough thing in their life and it's starting to affect other people, it's always
Hmm.
hard to tell them that, hey, you need to like stop that, because you're friends with them too.
Yeah.
So I always find that really difficult.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to look at it and say what's best for the community right now.
Mhm.
And
well,
sometimes giving somebody a ban, a 3 day or 7 day ban, give them a break from the game, the server and all that. They come back, they're refreshed, and they say, I had somebody come back off of a ban recently, and they said, hey, you know what? I'm not even mad. You were right about that. I should have been acting the way I should, and I'll do better from now on.
That's always the best.
so
Yeah.
so does it normally like resolve the issues with you guys, punishment wise, or just talking to them? Does it normally just resolve the issue, or do you guys have to go into like, you know?
Usually it does for us. Like usually it does.
It it really depends on who it is. Like if they're a regular person, a regular user, or they come back often, or you know them, usually they would understand. But someone who's I know there's a few people who've been banned and they keep trying to get on back to the server on different VPNs, and we constantly have to keep banning them because they're just that toxic. So sometimes it is a issue, but other times it's not. I would say most of the times it isn't.
All right, so one of your biggest prospects of having a gaming community is, or what brings people in, is tournaments. So, what kind of, like, are you guys oriented only towards League, or do you have other games? How do the tournaments go for that? What kind of tournaments do you do? Psycho.
Well, the JRB, we mostly do, because we are a smaller, community. We only do usually like 1v1 tournaments is what we normally do, like on the ARAM map. We're looking forward to trying to do some new like 2v2 tournaments or something like that because we're slowly growing, in numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to get up there more for like the bigger team, full teams and stuff like that would be cool.
And is League the only game you play?
Actually, we have like sectors like in let's see, we have the Arma community, the ABK clan, for Arma and DayZ, and then we have a small team on CS:GO, and we also have some Elder Scrolls thrown in there, and even some Rocket League.
Okay, so you just have a few like different sub clans
Yeah.
within a clan. That's pretty cool. And
Yeah.
what about you, Flash?
With us, we do ARAM tournaments. ARAM tournaments. They're at registrations open at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and they close at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Advertisement. But with ARAM tournaments, we're actually getting a change in the pricing. We're getting a boost in the pricing. They're turning into 1.6k RP for first place, and it goes down from there.
Wow.
So with that, that's our thing. We want to start a 5v5 tournament in February. That's also out there. We're gonna test it in February, actually, and this has been sort of like talked about for the past 9 months. Some kind of like Galactic LCS thing. I know PR. We were talking before this. Not PR. Oh my god. JRB. Mentioned rank before the broadcast, and it just sort of reminded me that we wanted to do like Galactic LCS kind of style, but like with that, the goal of that is we have to raise $2,000 first for the prize pool. So like that thing is hopefully we can do it by the end of this year. That's our goal at the end of this year, to do a Galactic LCS. So.
Okay, and so is League the only game you guys play?
At the moment, we're really League oriented, but hopefully we can like branch out to CS:GO and other competitive games.
Right, so you do have ambitions to expand in that
Yeah,
area.
but right now it's sort of like all focused on League because that's sort of our core thing.
And that kind of brings us into like the future of your guys' communities. You know what I'm talking about? So starting with Cycle, like what do you plan on doing within like let's say the next 6 months to a year with your gaming community?
Yeah, 6 months to a year. We want to have our website finished up. We've had like 3 sites now, and we're redoing the whole thing again. And hopefully we'll have the logins where you can have your accounts on our website and everything like that, and have enough people that we can actually start doing like the 5v5 team tournaments.
All right, what about you, Flash?
What I plan to do with Galactic.
Within the next 6 months to a year.
6 months a year. I have 4 months planned out already, so yay. So for the next 4 months, it's just gonna be continuing with our A-Run tournaments and testing the 5v5s, and then hopefully, like I said earlier, expand that into other games and maybe Galactic LCS and expand the server. So.
All right, so.
Alright guys, this has been the DuoQueued Podcast. I want to thank you to JRB. Thanks for coming in, and Flash from Galactic Gaming. You guys have been awesome. This is really fun.
Thank you guys for having us.
Yeah, thanks guys. It's been fun.
This is your host, Dale Double Downs, and your co-host,
Silent Prayer.
And thanks for watching, everybody.
See you guys next time.
If you guys want to come hang out with the JRB, check out the links below in the description to our website, Facebook page, and our TeamSpeak server address is down there as well. And don't forget to check out our top streamer, Rink, on Twitch TV.
Hey guys, if you want to learn more about Galactic Gaming, make sure to check out the description below for any details. If you want to learn more about the tournaments, make sure to check out their TeamSpeak and their website.